The heart-brain coherence breath, you all know it by now. But for those of you who are returning after a while, consider that understanding of inhale and exhale, bringing gratitude through your heart. The extended exhale is always a way of connecting the heart and the brain. And again, what it does to your electromagnetic field is your heart's electromagnetic field expands out 5,000 times that of your electromagnetic field of the brain. It's just kind of interesting that we're set up like that. Now, we have these diaphragms within the body, a lot of them. There's 4 of them that I have discovered. And so we're working with more than just the diaphragm and the lungs. And we've been working a lot with the diaphragm down at the base of the spine, that lower part of the torso that we can work with. And in this heart-brain coherence, as we work with Joe Dispenza's work, which is how to be superhuman. And to be superhuman, he has researched this heart-brain coherence. Inhale gratitude through the heart. Let it touch up there into the brain as you exhale down all the way out through the body, down to the floor, down to your pelvic floor. Find out, where do you want to place your hands? You might be lying down, you might be seated on a chair, you might be seated on the floor. Doesn't matter. This thing called yoga just means let's bring it all together. Union of physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, relational self. So you're bringing yourself together, grounding into the earth, however you do, to remember that you are the earth. You're not just part of it, you are the earth, just like everything else is the earth. We're not separated. We're not separate from each other. This is what our brain, our body, mind, spirit has been taught for the last millennia, 10,000 years, however it has been for humans to evolve to this point. So inhale gratitude, overflowing heart of gratitude. Remembering that the four emotions that sparkle and light up this heart, light up the electromagnetic field: gratitude, compassion. And what was that word? Boundless compassion. Consider boundless compassion. And then the others are appreciation. How's that different than gratitude? And caring. What's caring about? So caring, and all of these words start with yourself: gratitude for yourself, appreciation, caring, and compassion. And then you can give it out to others. This is the essence of metta meditation. May I be happy. May somebody else be happy. May all beings be happy. It's the same thing with this understanding of this heart-brain coherence. Gratitude, gratefulness, compassion, appreciation, caring. And it's as important and at the top of your list to start with yourself and know that you need to do this all for yourself. And that is going to put the right kind of energy out into the world. You are going to be healing the earth. And then as we come together, the 11 of us in this moment, but any number over 8 is more powerful than alone. And the 8, that's just the one that really had that magical essence that showed the expansion in the electromagnetic field of those 8 people. So as you exhale and exhale completely, then that's the extended exhale, and this ignites the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming biochemistry, the dose chemistry: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And when you find yourself on the other side of that, which is the fight, flight, the the sadness, the difficulty, the angst, the oh my God, the I can't handle this, all of that, then you go back to the extended exhale, and it's meditation. The power of meditation without doing any postures is huge. It's a whole nother study. Meditation in stillness. So inhale that breath through the heart, touch the brain, imagine yourself lighting up. You're lighting up the light that is you. I am light. I am light. I am light. It's a meditation. What does it look like? Could you draw it? What colors would it be? How would you draw even a stick figure of your body? And what would you do outside the body? What's the light look like? How do you create it? How do you dance it? How do you use your that creative part of yourself? Stimulating the third eye, the imagination, as you bring your fingertips together and bring the thumbs to the heart. This is the stabilization of the first 7 chakras, but this is the first 5. Red, orange, yellow, green, light blue at the throat. Then bring the thumbs to the third eye. Imagination, inspiration, intuition, integration. And I say this every time because this is where we're expanding those control centers. We're changing them. We're expanding what happens in those control centers. We're changing the neural pathways of the brain through this practice and through all the information that has come forward to help us expand our understanding of ourselves from the 3rd dimension, from living just in the 3 dimensions to the 4th dimension to the 5th. That can be a mystery for you right now, but allow it to roll around as, wonder what that means. Then the top of your head. And remember, we're working on making more space in the brain through a little bit of Donna Eden's energy medicine, which is called the crown pull. Some of you are familiar with some of this. And you pull the very center of the skull where you have a suture there, and just a couple sutures come together. You pull out and down the back of your ears and down your shoulders, and then make more space in the brain. And then just keep imagining I'm the crown pull, and you're making more space in the brain, and you're getting rid of all the stuff you don't need. And interestingly, we go down the vagus nerve here at the neck and out. And that vagus nerve is a control center. Goes to every organ of the body. And you can do this like 3 or 4 times. And even though you may not think you're doing much, you're working with your energy field, just like the meridians, just like the nadis of Ayurvedic medicine. Every culture has their way. And then bring your hands to your heart. And you're bringing your own heart circle to your own self to make it stronger for yourself, for your heart to be able to handle the comfort with uncertainty. How do you do that? Self-soothing. Those are, John and Julie Gottman's words of how to self-soothe yourself when you've been disrupted. What does it mean? What does it look like? What is comfort with uncertainty? And you bring your heart center together, and your hands and arms are like the ones out to community, hugging someone else, spreading out your love, bringing the arms up. But when you bring them to yourself, one palm on the other or palm to palm, you bring yourself a little bit to that self-love place. Appreciation and caring for all who you are. Amazing you. Each one of you is so amazing. And your collective wisdom is overflowing. And you're guided. You're being guided to whatever is the right thing for you right now. Namaste to yourself. I am presence, and I'm at one with all that is. I'm not separate. I am the flower of life, and I shine my light because I am light. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And you heard my sigh. That sighing will also make biochemistry. It actually makes the biochemistry of Valium, diazepam. So you can always deep breath in and sigh it out, and that will release tension and make biochemistry. And you're actually using that extended exhale. And this is kind of these are tools to, work with that comfort with uncertainty. And then release this. And if you're in a seated posture like I've been, then release that posture. But if you're in a chair or whatever, I'm going to just pull my mat a little closer because some of you have mentioned how I'm looking further away from the screen. And then come back. If you're on your bed or whatever, you can stay on the chair because you can do everything on a chair, but otherwise come right down to the floor. Bring the knees into your chest or roll the ankles, point and flex the feet. This whole journey from 11 to 12, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is really about you evaluating your own presence with who are you in this physical form. Remember that we've talked about being a spiritual being in a physical body. We're working physically, we're part of the physical aspect of beings on the planet. Pull the knees in, bring your head up to the knees and the hands down as far to the feet as they'll go, or underneath the knees, or with use a strap. Now, any tension that you have in the body will show itself during this practice, and you can evaluate that tension and then breathe in and just ask for that part of the body to release the tension, or ask for what that tension is telling you. It might have a profound message in a particular part of the body. If my if my feet could speak, what would they say? If my knees could speak, what would it say? What would they say? Then 5-pointed star to remember that you are light. Imagine this is the flower of life, and you can see that geometric shape. Now, if you just take a quick glimpse into sacred geometry, you will see all the different mathematics that are actually part of this shape of the flower of life. And if you can imagine the magnificence of that mathematics coming into form and representing and being represented by the whole earth and every being on the earth, that's where we are. That's what the truth is. And then bring the feet to the floor and drop the knees side to side and feel the pelvis. The pelvis is sort of this connector between the first chakra and then all the way up the spine. And this practice is one to really work with the spine and work with any tensions up and down the spine, rebalance what's going on in the cerebral spinal fluid. Then bring the feet center and arms down by your sides and just work with that cerebral spinal fluid by pressing off from the feet. Your arms don't have to do anything. If you're seated on a bed, you can do this. If you're seated on a chair, you can't really do this. So just find something else to do if you're on a chair. And then pause. We've been doing this on our back surface and our front surface. Then pull the right knee in and roll the right ankle and lengthen out that left leg. And so you're just pulling that right knee, and this is called half wind relieving posture. We're working with the small intestine partly. We're working with the flexibility of that leg. You can also lace the fingers underneath or have a strap. Then some of you can make this a little bit more vigorous. You can lift the head up towards the knee, and you can lift that left leg. And you can point that left leg or flex it. Now you've got that right leg pulled directly in. And you're breathing. you're focusing. You're just being present with sounds and smells and the feeling of air in your skin and the shape that your body makes and the space between. And then let that go. Lengthen out that leg and just see what that release feels like. It's all important, the sensory perception of all of these actions. Pull that left knee in, roll the ankle. Breathe, find the breath. What kind of breath does your body want to do? Then lift the head if you want, lift the right leg if you want. Your head might be on a cushion, and that's okay. It's really modifying these postures for your body and honoring and respecting your body in this moment. And every moment's going to be different. Maybe every day. Some days you'll have less energy, some days you'll have more. If your neck ever gets tired and your head is up, you just take a hand and put it behind your head. Here you might use that pelvic floor, that diaphragm at the pelvic floor to help you here. And then let it go. Reach the arms out above your head. Stretch. Oh, stretch from the heels of the hands to the heels of the feet and hold your breath. Another breath pattern here. Oh, stretch side to side, anything you can, and then release. Take a moment in that release and just feel the release. Then feet flat on the floor and hands behind the head. And remember, we do a little bit of core strengthening here. But if core strengthening is not your thing, or you do that Fitness Over 50 class that is based in core strengthening, then just find something else to do. You can make this very, very gentle. You just put your hands behind your head and you just lift very gently, lift the shoulders up, look at the ceiling and exhale. Now you can lift and exhale and inhale and lower at your own pace. If you want a little bit more vigor, then you might bring your feet off the floor. This is just called a shoulder lift. So just look at the ceiling. You're not really doing a sit up, but squeeze at the pelvic floor and use that diaphragm as you're also using your the diaphragm right underneath the ribs. So you're exhaling and you might blow it out. Now you can also lengthen the legs out and lower them down. I usually just go to the knees bent. And it's just a little bit, you're checking in with your core and going, what's that like? Press into the lower back, make sure the lower back is flat. You can go slower, don't have to follow me. And then hold the posture. And then head comes down, pull the knees in, take a deep breath in and out, feet back to the floor. Drop the knees side to side, loosen the pelvis. Next piece is to cross over, and we've done this standing. We do it seated on a chair. You just tap one knee or bring the elbow up. A lot of this you can do on the chair, even that core strengthening. This one is either tap one knee, and what you're doing is going side to side with your left brain and your right brain, just crossing over. This is called the cross crawl, another piece of Donna Eden's energy medicine. Or you take your hands behind your head and do an elbow up there. And one knee rises, and then you can bring your feet off the floor. And you're exhaling on each side, and go as slow or as fast as you want. Remember, you're doing way more than exercise here. You're crossing the brain, balancing the right and left brain, balancing creativity with structure, balancing the openness with the mathematical, logical, and balancing that place within us that can touch the soul. Each side gets a little bit of breath. And then hold one side and just see how it is to hold one side. Take a breath. Don't hold the breath. Hold the other side. This is somewhat to teach you, to recognize when you're just going through the world and are you breathing? Are you holding your breath? What breath are you doing? And then pull the knees in. Even when you're cooking, how are you breathing? How are you breathing when you're watching television or looking at the computer? Recognizing all the different ways that we breathe is part of this practice. One last piece before we come up is to cross the right ankle over the left and decide. This is to stretch the right hip. You can do this seated on a chair. Again, you can do this in a bed. You can bring a strap between your legs, or you can catch underneath and behind the left leg. You can have your head in a cushion, head down. You can put your hands on top of that left knee. Now here, you're just going to evaluate this. You can put your foot on a block or on a wall or on the edge of a couch, so you don't have to hold it all, but you can still stretch this right hip. If you want a more vigorous stretch, you can always turn over and just do pigeon. That's where the weight of the body pushes gives you an incredibly deep stretch for that right hip. What we're going to do with this is I'm going to offer you to just hang out here and just be here and just recognize what's going on with that right hip. And I like to do micro movements to feel it. So, you might see that on the screen, but you also might just know I'm doing micro movements to just feel, well, what's going on there? I'm going to compare both hips, seeing what's happening. Then take the right hand if you want and bring it. You can always have that left foot on the floor, but you could take that right hand onto the knee, left hand onto that foot and pull it in a little bit deeper. If your leg is up, you're going to feel that stretch a little bit more. And you can lengthen out that leg, bring the head up and strengthen the left leg as you point and flex. You have lots of choices to make this practice your own. Please listen to your body and just do what your body wants to do as you're focusing on the breath. Inhale and exhale for this raising and lowering of the left leg. And then hold for a moment and just contemplate the vision of the words spontaneous wisdom. While you're in yoga or while you're in meditation, or sometimes when you're doing art or writing, there's some place within you that has this, opening of spontaneous wisdom. I know a lot of you know what that is. And then let yourself come down, pulling that right leg in, lengthening out, shaking it out. Now, working with the pelvis is working with the second chakra. Bring the feet onto the floor, cross the left leg, ankle over the right knee, and check it out. What's going on? Knees, hip, ankle, how's it all put together? Remember that you can pull a block in at any time and put, or you could have this right foot up on a wall or the edge of a bed, or you can just cross this ankle over this knee if you're sitting in a chair. And you're just hanging out there. You can also, if it works for you, you can have a strap or hands laced behind the right leg, hands laced on top of that right knee if you have even more flexibility. Head can be on a cushion, or sometimes it tilts back. It's nice relaxation for the neck. And then you're just hanging there for a moment, evaluating the shape and the space between, and how you're feeling the energy and the restrictions, perhaps, in that left hip. Just becoming more present with you being in the body, a spiritual being in a physical form. You're this physical form is constrictive in some ways, and it constricts us with the tension that builds up in these different parts of the body. And the tension all has messages, letting everything be your teacher. If the left hip could speak, what would it say? Then you can decide to come up. You can decide to take your right hand and take the left foot and the left hand on the knee and pull it in. You can let go of that block if you've got your foot on a block or the wall. And you can also lift your head up. So it's just a little shift in how you use a similar shape. The postures change. This is Vinyasa yoga. The other yoga, Hatha yoga, straightforward Hatha yoga, usually holds in one shape. And so you consider that if you want to do holding in one shape or you want to put it into motion. Do you want strengthening or do you want relaxation? You're choosing all the time. And most of us are choosing every moment of what we're going to choose: relaxation or work, physical work, taking care of ourselves, how to fit things in, like going to the grocery store. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Then lengthen those legs out. Both legs come out, reach above your head, shake out the legs, and rock yourself up or roll yourself over to the side and come up. And here, nice, this pelvis. I know for me, the pelvis just holds a lot. And it's also a place in our body that over decades, the various parts of the joint wear out. And a lot of people in these 5 decades, from 50 to 100, but really most of us are 65 to 100. And we don't have any 100 years old right now, but we do have 85 and 89. No, 88. So working with the pelvis, just keeping it fluid, is going to help work with these different things that happen in this area. Very key area, the legs that hold up everything. So come to mermaid position if it works for you. If it doesn't, find a way. Maybe your knees need to be out further. Maybe that left knee needs to be out. Maybe you're better sitting on a chair to do a spinal twist, or sitting on a cushion. You can always, a lot of people need a cushion here. Just put the cushion on the other side, and it kind of holds you up there when you start to twist around. So it's you, since I'm not with you in person, it's you fiddling with different kinds of equipment to see. And then a little active isolated stretching for this to really get this spine twisted, and look over that right shoulder and breathe and relax. You can make this practice as gentle as you need. You don't need to do the active isolated stretching. You can just look over that right shoulder. Now keep the eyes open. This is an exercise for the eyes. It also is an exercise that really stimulates the vagus nerve with playing with the eyes. So you look to the right, over the right shoulder, then just keep the body where it is and change where you look, opposite. Look around to the left, keep the eyes open, and then look back to the right and back to the left. Hold for a moment, take a breath, and then look back to the right. And then back around to the front. And switch to the other side and right into active isolated stretching. Again, you may need to take a cushion and put it under your left hip to be able to do this, or just sit right on top of it, or lengthen out your leg. You are working it. And if you have a chair nearby, you can always hop right onto the chair. If you're lying down and you're not sitting or on a chair today, you might just do a lying down spinal twist. Bring yourself all the way around, look over the left shoulder and breathe. And noticing like your eyes and how they're stretching. Notice what you do when you breathe, and notice how the breath stretches you. So that's another part of this breath awareness, is how does it stretch you? Muscular, skeletally, imagine all the systems. Most of you know your body's biology. Go to the biology and Try to understand, well, what's going on with the nervous system, with the circulatory system, with the lymphatic system, and how does the breath, how is that involved? And then look the opposite direction. So your eyes are turned to the left. Now look to the right and then to the left. Don't forget to breathe. And then to the right. And then come back around to the center. Come up to the hands and knees. And for some of you, that means getting onto some other kind of support for your knees. So I just have a square couch cushion. And just to get the spine doing all that it needs to do here. Pretty simple posture. You can do this on an edge of a chair. It's not that easy to be on your knees for the if you're on a bed because you sink in, but you can try it depending on how firm your bed is. You can have your hands, you can be standing and you can have your hands on the bottom of a chair, a base of a chair, and you can do this. There's all sorts of ways to play with the spine. It's you using that creativity and that body wisdom and your collected wisdom to do what you need to do as you hold one direction. Breathe. Hold the other direction. You can always go to your fists if your wrists are challenged. Then remember, go to the fists. And then from here, you have some choices. And I always give you lots of choices because isn't it great? We have choices. All through our life, we have choices. To come back into child, for some of you that works, for some of you it doesn't. You can always try it with a cushion on top of your knees if the knees are the problem. If you're on a chair, you just sort of fold over. This is child. You can stay in child and have it be a restorative posture with all the cushions and also a block that holds your head up. If your body's flexible enough, your arms can come back, palms face up by your feet. So you have lots of choices. My body always needs to move. I really like Vinyasa yoga. But again, you can hold postures or you can put them in motion. I'm teaching you both. This one is up into upward dog. And back into child. You can leave that cushion right on top of the feet if it's necessary for your knees. Up. Knees and hips, we work with them a lot in this age group. So, have gratitude for all the moving joints and all that you've gotten to do throughout your whole life with all the parts of the body. At one point I just studied what it's like to not have your arms or not have your legs or have a part of the body that doesn't work. How does it feel to be immobile? And then how does it work with people who learn to swim and don't have any arms or legs? Pretty amazing. Sometimes they have just arms. Sometimes they have just legs. And it's pretty amazing what people have done and how they have lived life to the fullest. So here we are, living life in our body to the fullest with the breath. How are you going to use the breath here? When you feel ready, and if you want to, you can hold this posture, the upward dog. And we're just going to come up for a very short time. So if you're not wanting to come up today, just know you can just sit on a chair or you can not come up because we're not going to be up for very long, but you're going to tuck the toes either from your hands and knees. You can come back to your hands and knees and come to downward dog for a moment and straighten out each leg one at a time. Give them some time to really feel what's going on behind the knee. Take a breath. Also feel the strength of the arms for that.
And then find your way to standing. Now, for some of you, this doesn't work, but if you can, you walk up to your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet, however you get there, and don't come up yet. Bring yourself up to your elbows on your knees or your hands above the knees, or ragdoll, or standing forward bend. I have to use a block to do that. But you can decide. You can also have your hands on the base of a chair. So see what your body wants to do right now as you take a moment of letting the body be folded over, a little bit upside down. Then press into the feet and bring yourself up, all the way up and a little ways back in the hands to the heart. And this will help you not be dizzy. All right, Monday morning, right? Here we are, a whole week ahead of us. The time has shifted, so the weeks are really different. But first, shake out the body. We're just going to do a little, like, this is just such an easy little practice to shake out the body. Now, we haven't done breath of joy lately, so let's do breath of joy. And those of you who need a little refresher for that, remember, you can go at your own pace. It's inhale, 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 and a ha. Remember that ha breath is coming from that fifth chakra, light blue. Inhale, 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 and ha. Ha, 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 ha. Last time. And hook up. This is energy medicine. Central meridian, hook up. Third finger in the belly button, third finger at the third eye. Again, Donna Eden's work, energymedicine.com or inner source. I think she's also calls her website. This works. This is an amazing one when you feel kind of like off or dizzy or nauseous or something's a little off and you can't quite get back. We're working with the central meridian. All of her work is based on the meridians and the nadis, all the points of the body that are energy points. Okay, so here we are up, and inhale the arms up, and we're going to go into toe balance. So always a little balancing, and you'll see if you even watch my legs, my feet have to work. You know, how do your feet have to work? Hold, and now you can bring your hands down at your heart. Now from here, we're just going to fold our knees and go into Utkatasana, the awkward pose or the chair pose. And it's as though you're sitting down in a chair, but you're not really going to sit. And ride the wave for a moment. Feel the quads, feel the knees. How does it work? Feet are parallel. And then for some of you, you can bring your hands to your heart, arms out or arms above your head, and you can tip up onto the balls of your feet. And you can feel the quads a little bit stronger. And you're just sort of playing with, okay, what do I feel? How's my body doing? You know, body, mind, spirit, but also muscular, skeletal, all the systems of my body. Where's my breath? How can I be fully present in this moment, in this shape? And then press into the feet and come back down. One more balancing posture, and then we'll come back down. Come onto your right foot and toe on the floor, toe above the knee, or toe up above the, or toe up above the knee, toe below the knee, I meant to say, and hands at your heart. So tree posture. Look at something not moving. And these balancing postures are meant to give us that understanding of concentration, focus, and the ability to stay on track. So you can bring your arms over your head if it works. You're looking at something not moving. You're witnessing the feeling of what's in your body going on. You can always hold on to a chair, a table, or a wall. And you're breathing. Your breathing hasn't stopped. You're just comfortable, steady breath or extended exhale. Whew, effortlessly. I am the trees. I am the tree. The trees have a lot to teach us. You can always come up with your own metaphor for all the things that trees do.
and then let it go. Then go on to the other side. Did you know that trees, I just thought this was so cool when I learned this, but the leaves on a tree are placed so that when the wind comes, that they actually have an aerodynamic kind of way that they go, so that they come together. And if you, certain trees, you can really see that. Down into the left foot, toe on the floor. That's the most gentle. It's still beautiful. It's still a balancing posture. You don't need to go any further. You can do anything you want with your branches, your arms, and your toe can come above the ankle. That's as far as I go. As I wobble, my left foot, really wobbles. So I'm grounding into that, focusing on something, not moving, breathing, being in this fully presence of how this posture works. Now, you may notice that you're not even doing anything with that pelvic floor. Pull up at the pelvic floor. It's going to stabilize you a little bit. Just see if you're using that diaphragm, if you feel a little bit more stable. Also, you can have your hand on a wall or a table or a chair. Focusing, breathing, and then let it go and shake it out. So here we come back down to the floor, and drop the chin to your chest, and do it very consciously today. Well, sometimes we do it just come down to the floor. Just consider dropping the chin to the chest, and with every breath, you go down a little bit. Now witness your spine here. Inhale, exhale, and witness where your knees naturally bend. Inhale, exhale. Now you can be on a chair and just go down, bring your head down towards the floor. And if you're on your bed, you're lying down already, you can be on your front surface or your back surface and just pull the knees in. Once you get all the way down, then go back to downward dog. Just to, give yourself another little time of stretching the backs of the legs. Again, your hands can be on blocks. They can be on a chair, on the edge of your bed, a couch. You don't have to be all the way down. Then down to your knees, and all the way down to Sphinx. Now, Sphinx is elbows on the floor, and you can see how you could really work the back between the shoulders if you brought your head up and down and up and down. And then you press into those elbows, and it's not that easy to hold there. And we're going to look back to the 2 feet, so side to side. And this is going to bring the spine into that curve that it does side to side. Inhale and exhale, and then hold one side. Look back at your feet. And hold the other side. Look back at your feet. Breath. Then we're going to lower a little further and tuck the toes and do the cerebral spinal fluid balancer again. And again, I can't emphasize enough that this one comes from osteopathy, osteopathic medicine. And it really does a lot more to the body than you might know. It really does rebalance how the systems of the body are working. Your arms aren't really involved. They're just giving you a little support. Your head is lifted off the floor a little bit, and you're tucking your toes and just pushing off from them and just rocking. And then slow that down, and you're gonna just roll over to your back, however you want to do that, and a block or a cushion or legs up the wall. We've been doing 2 final postures. One is reclined goddess with a long cushion or a rolled up blanket. 1 or 2 blocks. You can do a supportive posture or just lie down in reclined goddess, or you can put legs up the wall or legs up on a block or something with your pelvis on the block. I tend to like this one. It's rare that I just do this and just settle into it. And I really like opening my shoulders. So any kind of cushions can work, but this is kind of the way that it's really nice to have the long cushion or a rolled up blanket.
as you're getting into one of the positions as a last posture, which could also be Shavasana, I really don't give you a long time for Shavasana. And I always say, just go into Shavasana and stay in Shavasana if that's what you need to do for as long as your body tells you to stay before you get up. That could be a wonderful meditation time where you're just staying in a neutral posture and you're breathing. Relax your body as much as you can, connecting with gravity, connecting it with all the different places that you feel the tug of the weight of your body connected to the earth. It can be down to each finger where you can feel the weight of the fingers and relax your hand so much that you can feel that. You relax the toes, the ankles, the knees, the pelvis, the spine. The more you relax into whatever posture you're in, the more the release will be more profound, or the more profound the release will be. Much more is happening than you might be aware of as you place yourself into a posture and you stay there. Go back to gratitude through the heart, gratitude, compassion, appreciation, and caring. Go back to the flower of life and that geometric form and imagine your light just shining out, completely shining out and connecting with all the other women on this call. And then all the other women around the earth, or actually just all the people that are meditating at the same time. Meditating and doing yoga. You can just imagine them because for 24 hours around this planet, there's somebody doing it. Imagine all the other groups just like ours who come together to do this practice. You can bring all the women that you know in different places that you are doing this practice. I know some of you are in various sanghas or circles. Breathing, relaxing, feeling, witnessing, allowing, and enjoying this moment of full aliveness. Bringing your hands together at the heart. May we have peace, and may what we do here go out onto the world and make more peace. And just taking that into your heart, that as you make peace within yourself and all aspects of yourself and your life, then you're actually doing your part for healing the world. First, we heal ourselves. May we have peace, and may what we do here go out onto the world and make more peace. Then just stay right where you are for as long as you want. Remember, it's not a race. I'm just responsible as an educator to come back and
have some closure. Oh, roll off. If you're on a cushion or blanket, you can roll off of that and pause for a moment on your side. Then when your body feels ready, you come up to the next place, the next level. Let the body settle, feel gravity, shift the water in your body, remembering that you are mostly water. So every time you shift the body, you're shifting how gravity responds to that water. Then when you feel the next level of ready, you find your way up.